Hey guys, welcome to the Positive Experience podcast, where we look at the good, the bad and the ugly in living your best life. Today's segment is on the H.E.A.D'S. The acronym stands for Health Experts and Disruptors. Let's dive in. Hey guys, welcome to the Positive Experience podcast. Today's segment is on H.E.A.D'S, Health Experts and Disruptors. And today I'd like to introduce my friend Troy. G'day Troy, how are you?
Great, Leki. How are you?
Hey mate, good, thanks. And you know, I think the environment that we're all in with COVID at the time of recording, it's the 4th of August. So that's a bit of a timestamp. And in Victoria, we've just entered level 4 restrictions in metropolitan Melbourne. So if both Troy and I are a little bit frustrated and a bit nervous because we've just been clamped down for 6 weeks. So, but that aside, today I'd like to shine the spotlight on Troy and the great work that he's doing at Constant Evolution. And before we get to the main caper, you know, his work, his business, his passion, I'd like to just go back a little bit, Troy, and maybe start where you grew up, if you're a good Melbourne boy, and you know, maybe what you did at school, and you know, how you eventually got to your current career, mate. So give us a snapshot there.
Yeah, it's probably a long story, but I will try and keep it pretty succinct for you guys. I actually grew up in central Queensland. I was born in central Queensland, spent probably the first sort of 15 years of my life in central Queensland before I moved down into the southeast Queensland region, where I spent about 10 years in Ipswich. And yeah, then I became a Melbourne local after that. As far as my background's concerned, like I spent a lot of time in that rural area up in central Queensland in the mining industry up there with my parents.
Okay. So you were a mining family or a farming family, our country?
My father actually supplied explosives to the mines, so
wow,
we're sort of in the mining industry, but not employed through the mines. So it was that's a pretty different type of
kind of piggybacking off the miners there. Yeah,
profession what my father had, but at the time it was great.
Cool. And then you came to Melbourne as like a young fella, or were you already a young man and finished high school?
Yeah. I was, by the time I got to Melbourne, I think I was about 25, 26, something like that.
Okay, cool. And what was the journey then? Were you already like in the trenches doing a certain bit of work, or were you sort of just tasting a lot of different things? Give us an idea.
In a very different industry than what I'm in now. When I actually went through high school, went and did a Bachelor of Applied Science in Forensics and Chemistry at university, so I have a Bachelor of Applied Science there. Then I joined the pharmaceutical industry and spent a good 12 years working my way through the quality control lab and eventually up into managing the QA department in total.
Yeah.
I suppose we need to sort of do a bit of backwards and forwards. So I found a passion for health and fitness just before my 30th birthday. After spending the majority of my life, from about the age of 7 onwards, I was always overweight, unfit, unhealthy, and that struggled with that through my teenage years, and even as a young father in my early 20s. I suppose the birth of my first child, for some reason, that became a good excuse for me to put even more weight on. So I think I sort of ballooned out at about 110 kilos not long after the birth of my first child.
And I've got a very, very similar story with baby number 1. You kind of let things go, and then there's something that forces you to pull your finger out. Like, what was that moment? What was your aha moment?
Yeah, so the aha moment for me probably was a little bit two-sided. The first one was I realised I wasn't spending quality time with my kids. Mm-hmm. The quality time I thought I was spending was just either just sitting on the couch watching TV or kicking back watching movies on TV with them. So that was sort of part of the aha moment, is to think it's got to be better than this. I've got to set a better example for my kids. And there's a better way to spend some quality time with them. So that was the first I suppose, precursor for me doing this. The second one was I just got sick of being overweight. I'd spent my whole life doing it. I'd tried many times to lose weight without success. So, like I said, my whole family was up in Queensland and friends. And I had planned to go back there for my 30th birthday, to have a big birthday bash with my friends and family up there. And I just made the decision about 6 months out from that I was definitely not going back fat. I was going to get myself in some sort of shape, and yeah, just really knuckled down and went super hard on looking at my nutrition. And yeah, shed about 20 odd kilos in that 6 month period, which now, as someone that works in the health and fitness industry, understands that that's not the right way to do it. And I've basically had to teach myself for the last 10 years how to find something sustainable, that I can be a normal person. I can eat stuff and sort of go sort of ease my way out of that diet mindset.
Man, awesome summary there. So if we were to make a bit of a transition from the lab coat to the gym singlet,
Yep.
because what you're describing there was when you're a bit more carrying more weight than what you like, and then you were trying to figure out ways to shed the kilos and feel better about yourself in the situation. When did you think about, bugger it, I'm going to get out of the lab coat completely and then start my own thing? Was it like a all or none sort of thing, where you made a gradual transition, where you turned down the quality control stuff, and then you made the transition to your health and fitness business?
Yeah, so as I said, I went pretty hardcore when I lost the weight originally, and I did that, and at the same time, yeah, found a passion for health and fitness, and realised that how much better life can be when you do have that active lifestyle.
Yep.
So at the time, I was still working in the pharmaceutical manufacturing facility, and it came a point where I was actually offered a promotion. And I'd been with the company for 12 years, and I'd been looking for a promotion for a long time. And when they offered it to me, I actually turned them down and said, "This is not where my passion lies anymore. I want to get out there. I want to be able to help other busy mums and dads do the same thing and experience life in a more active and more fit, and become better role models for their kids, and how much better life can be." So they were really receptive to how honest I was at the time, and they actually enabled me to sort of reduce my hours in the pharmaceutical manufacturing facility, while I scaled up my personal training business on the outside.
Wow.
So I did that over about 12 months, which was good. I sort of dropped down to 4 days a week. Then I dropped down to 3 days a week, and they were really good. And they kept me on a rolling contract. And then it came to about Christmas, about 6 years ago now, where they said, "We really need someone in this position full time, so we're not going to renew your contract." Which, it was a good safety net I had at the time, but in hindsight, it was good that they ripped that out from underneath me, because it forced me to go and to make myself a success.
Go all in, pretty much. So they rolled out the red carpet for you, and then they sort of kicked you off the plank.
Yeah, that's it. But
Man, awesome.
they did well. They did good for me over those 12 months as I transitioned out of the industry.
Perfect. So it was a two-way street. So,
Yeah.
all right, let's go to where we are now, which is running this personal training business, this health and fitness business. So, right now, is there a particular, like, I know where it is now compared to 6 years ago is very different. So I'm trying to summarize some of the main findings, and maybe present that as nuggets, golden nuggets for the audience to take hold. Like, what would be one major learnings that you know now that if you were to jump into the time machine, you would have told Troy 6 years ago?
Yeah, definitely. Well, the first major nugget is that you don't need to be working out for hours and hours at a time, 7 days a week. When it comes to the exercise component of changing your body and losing some kilos and regaining some activity, less is definitely more. And again, I suppose while we're still on that sort of exercise part, cardio has its place, but it really is like an accessory to strength training. And as you would know, Leki, as we age, we lose that muscle, and we need to try and do whatever we can to maintain that strength and the muscle mass, which will then help us, live longer and be younger as we're living longer as well.
Absolutely. You know, there's some conditions that are indicative of a shorter lifespan, like conditions like sarcopenia, and, you know, if you get osteoporosis and you fall and break a hip, that can quickly shorten your lifespan, because a broken hip, going into the hospital, getting that management, it takes life off your years. It takes years off your life, rather. So doing what you can now to bulletproof the body with Troy's Hub can help promote longevity, long, happy lives. You can be around and annoy your grandkids. So,
Yeah, definitely.
you know, go ahead, mate.
Yeah, again, you don't need to be going to lift it. You don't need to be lifting weights 7 days a week. 2 to 3 times max is probably all we need.
Yep.
As long as we've got a nice balanced program and we're lifting with great technique, with the proper technique, as little as 3 sort of 40-minute sessions a week is probably all we need. And then we can just use a little bit of cardio in there to keep our heart health up as well. And that's pretty much all we need.
You know, I'm interested to see what your insights are with, like, the temperature of the health space, because, you know, conversations we're having now is very different to even 5 years ago. Like, people are a lot more aware about gut health, you know, and they're really paying attention to the food choices that they put on their plate, to things like mindfulness in terms of not going 100 miles an hour 7 days a week. You know, people are starting to talk about meditation and mindfulness practices, you know, and for me, it's interesting being, you know, a health provider for 12 years, how the conversation is changing, and it's not professionals driving it, it's everyday people becoming aware of it. You know, do you notice that too? It's really interesting.
Yeah, definitely. It's probably still difficult to break through to people that it's not as difficult as they make it out to be in their own minds. Or sometimes the noise of the fitness industry is do more, do more, do more.
Yeah.
Where I'm hoping that with what I do with my clients and the information I'm trying to get out there is it's not required. And I suppose you'll probably back me up on this as well, Leki, that the results that we get from exercise actually come when we're not doing exercise. It's done in the recovery process.
Yep. Absolutely.
And there's no point trying to, if the body hasn't recovered from the previous session, there's no real point in trying to go in and do another session if you're not working at your maximum potential.
Yeah, you know, I think there's lots of pieces to the health puzzle. Like, there's the physical component, there's the rest and recovery. You know, we're talking about food before, we're talking about sleep and stress management, and they can be like blanket terms. And you're talking about your frustrations in the health and fitness industry, and, you know, there's similar frustrations I share with you in the medical sort of field, because you know, there's medical providers, like, say, doctors, GPs, that are well-meaning, and, you know, they want the best for you, but, you know, when they give you like generic sort of lifestyle advice, like go lose some weight, or, you know, eat better, you know, it's not really a tangible thing that most people can take and hold and run with, you know, and that's where some coaching and partnering with good professionals that really know their thing and can help hold your hand into this process. Because, you know, in your practice, Troy, and in mine, I think the hardest thing is helping people make the behavioral change. It's like a belief system, the psychology of making change. And regardless of the person and the problem that they may have, the underlying root problem is like like desires and belief systems. Like, would you agree? Like, what do you find there in your experience, big fella?
Yeah, 100%. It's the habits that have been with us for 10, 15, 20 years that are gonna, are one, probably the main contributor to how we've got ourselves into a state where we're not happy with the way we look, function, or feel. And it takes time to work on those things there. Yet, again, you'll agree with me here that everyone's looking for something that's going to fix it within the next 2 weeks. And unfortunately, it's going to take it's going to take, if it's taken 10 to 15 years to get into a state where you are now and you're not happy, we've got to be realistic about how long it's going to take to unlearn some of those habits and relearn the new habits that are going to help us out. People will get hung up on, and I ran a free webinar last night and I used this example. People get hung up and they'll ask me, oh, should I go to drinking black coffee, dropping milk out of my coffee? And they're not addressing the fact that they've got chronic stress problems. They're not sleeping at night. They haven't moved their body in 5, 10, 15 years. So there's a lot of little things that we need to look at, in an overall picture. And we need to start picking out the ones that are going to make the biggest impact and not get hung up on those little factors that are going to make very minimal impact to what we're trying to achieve.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the role of us being coaches, like we're trying to coach people through their health journey, and our specialty in shining the light ahead of the path ahead, because for the people we're trying to help, the path is kind of dark, it's not illuminated. And I think a lot of that, because we can't continually hold their hand all the way through, but we can guide them. And ultimately, the best transformations is when they do, you see the light bulb switch and you can see the flicker in their eye, like it's just, yeah, they've got it. And that's one of the most powerful feelings you get, because like in my cubby house here in my field, if people just had surgery and then we've helped them with some rehabilitative efforts, and then now they're looking to more performance and more, lifestyle gains, and it goes towards, say, a bit more towards your field. Regardless of where they are in the journey, when you see that light bulb switch on, it's really rewarding, because the words we've been able to share with people has allowed them to just sort of open their eyes to the idea that they can transform, that this is possible. And so if you were to think about, one of the main types of people that come to seek your help, who would those types of people be? Would they be mostly people trying to lose weight, people trying to get stronger, a bit of both? What would you say?
Yeah, for the most part, most people want to lose weight, but obviously, once we start peeling back the layers, there's other reasons there. But it's finding those reasons why they want to lose the weight, because you can ask everyone tomorrow if they want to lose weight, and 99% are going to say yes. So it's finding that reason why they want to do it, which then enables us to sort of dig a little bit deeper. Yep. And like you said, there's plenty of free information out there when it comes to exercise and nutrition. And ultimately, for the most part, it's all pretty much the same thing. The reason that they come to a coach is because they want a plan on how to, and a structure on how to go about achieving those lifelong changes.
Yeah. And being accountable to somebody, so they don't piss fart around.
That's definitely a major reason, I suppose, that they seek out a personal trainer, is that they need someone to be accountable to, because they've got all the information there and they've had it there for a long time now, but they're not using it. So someone needs to hold their hand and say, let's go this way and let me show you how to do it. Where I'm a little bit different, I try to do it with as minimal impact on their current lifestyle as possible. Like I say to my guys, it is a long process, but why change something for the sake of changing it? Let's change one thing first, and if we get a result without having to change everything, then why waste our time trying to change things that we don't need to?
Yep, absolutely. Now, one of the questions I wanted to ask you, was you shared a story about being overweight, chronically overweight, and you just had enough. Is there any injury setbacks like that you've suffered? Like, were you involved in a car accident and you had to, because people can understand, and you build rapport by telling your story, so that way you empathize. Is there also an injury, like did you shred your shoulder up playing footy once upon a time?
No, I didn't do that. But I did. It was really funny because I got myself into my best physical shape and best fitness levels ever. And so I decided to go back and play footy at the age of 35. So I thought, oh yeah, I'm in great nick, I'm fit, I'm healthy, I'll go and do that. And I think, my body just wasn't ready for it. I picked up a bit of a hip problem just from kicking the football, that sort of thing. It was no major trauma to it, but I think it became sort of like going from not doing it regularly to training 2 nights a week and playing a game on the weekend, just sort of picked up this hip injury, which hasn't really healed in that time. So I've just had to modify my all my leg workouts. I've had to have some sort of modification.
Change and adapt.
Yeah, that's it. And find a way to go around it.
Do you have is there any special like message from that injury? Because the key lesson that I'm hearing is that you kind of listen to the body. You're more self-aware of your body, now, and whereas before you probably would have pushed through being a young 20-something-year-old and just blaze out.
In saying that, I pushed through that one season of football, even though I was in pain for a lot of it, because I thought, no, I've done all the hard work. I should be in the best shape of my life now, and I probably should have listened to my body a bit more and taken some more time off during that football season that I played.
Yeah.
And now, like I said, now 5 years later, I'm still I still have pain when I do simple things like squats and that sort of stuff. So yeah, definitely listen to your body. Don't just accept that the way it is.
You're trying to avoid stepping on the landmine, mate, so you don't blow up. So
yeah, that's exactly it.
If I was to transition to some quick-fire questions, mate, I'm just going to ask one or the other, and you can pick both if you like, and just gives us a chance to get to know Troy a little bit more. So which would you pick of the two, the beach or the trees?
The trees.
Okay. Well, that makes sense, given you're from country Queensland, perhaps.
Yeah, that's it.
Night out or Netflix?
Normally Netflix. Given that we've been in lockdown for a little while now, I would really like a night out.
Where's your local watering hole? Where would you go?
Just local here at the Park Hotel. It's not too far from home here, down here in Watton Street in Werribee.
Cool, nice and local. Nepal or New York?
Yeah, I saw this on the show, the show notes, and I'm probably not real keen on either of those. But
really?
I suppose if I was going to pick one, probably Nepal, just for the fact that it's a bit out there.
Yeah. Are you more sort of investigate around Australia and head out bush somewhere?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I thought so. Okay, cool. So this one's probably self-explanatory. Would you prefer the inner city loft or the country acreage?
Yeah, so country acreage there.
Yeah, by country
peace
mile.
Peace and quiet would be nice.
Yeah. Ford or Holden?
Holden.
Okay, good Australian man. And if I was to pick out your phone and I chuck it on to Instagram, like who would be one person that you're following that it might be somebody inspirational, might be a celebrity, maybe a comedian, who's someone that you check in every day?
I'm going to be really going to take the easy option here, and at the moment it's my wife, because she's working in a remote Aboriginal community at the moment up in Northern Territory.
Oh wow!
She decided to do that for 12 months, and because of all the COVID stuff, I haven't been able to see her face to face for a long time. So I'm sort of following her adventures through Facebook at the moment. And yeah, it looks like I probably won't get to see her now till Christmas time. So that would have been 12 months without seeing my wife, which has been pretty tough.
Wow, geez, that's massive. So she went on this adventure with the kids or minus the kids? So she was up there doing her work?
No, just by herself. She went up there in January, and we had arranged flights and everything to catch up every sort of 12 weeks. And yeah, we are now in August, and I haven't seen her once, and probably won't see her till she returns in December.
Jeez, mate. Well, big shout. What's your wife's name? Big shout out to her.
Christine, yeah.
Christine. Oh man, big shout out to Christine, mate. And geez, I thought you were doing the brownie points there, but no. Now that we understand, geez, yeah, so you're doing it tough, mate. Much love to you.
Yeah, FaceTime's just not enough.
I can imagine. Far out. All right. Based off that, as we're coming down the home stretch now, Troy, I'd like to just give you a chance to speak about any of the things, any events, any webinar. You talked about a webinar earlier today. So, what's happening with Incontinent Evolution that you'd like to share with the audience, big fella?
Yeah, well, I ran a webinar last night, a free webinar on, and gave out some hints and tips on where to start when it comes to losing weight and what to focus on and what not to focus on. So that was a lot of fun. And coming out of that, I was going to be launching a brand new program, but because we are sort of in a lockdown phase here in Victoria at the moment, I've had to do a very quick pivot. I do have been delivering some online HIIT sessions via Zoom. So I have put a package together where I'm going to be running like an 8-week launch pad program to launch into or launch out of the lockdown, which will include up to 5 HIIT sessions per week. I'm also going to put in some sample meal plans in there with some really tasty foods as well to help people through this lockdown period, and hopefully get some people coming out the other side in a much better position than what they are now. And for just a nice low fee of $29.95 a week for the next 8 weeks to get us through this lockdown period.
Hey, awesome. So what we spoke to about earlier, guys, was just getting a coach that can keep you accountable and can hold your feet to the flames and make sure that you can get the result at the other end of this 6-week window. So we will have those details from Troy and Constant Evolution, a link to this bio. So keep an eye out for that and any other things that Troy is going to be pushing out there, because it's something that he's passionate about in helping the community be healthier. So that's well in line with what we're doing here and what we believe in. So Troy, I just wanted to thank you for your time today, mate. And I understand that we're all in this tough environment together, but I appreciate that you have been really transparent and honest especially with your wife Christine up there in up north. So I just want to wish you well, mate, and I'd like to touch base with you in maybe another couple of months, mate, and see how you're going post-COVID, and then maybe share a couple of bevies down at the local.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Thanks so much for having me on Leki. It's been awesome.
All right, guys, have a great day and stay well and stay happy wherever you are. See you guys.